lines, okay? So if I say here's a line, graph it for me, right? In order to draw a line, girls, you need 2 points, right? Okay? So if I said here's a line, so I'll go with 2x plus 3y minus 6 equals 0. There's the equation of a line, right? Graph it, okay? So I need to get 2 points on the line. Now there's millions of points on the line. Look, here's a line. There's a point here, there's a point here, there's a point here, there's another point there, there's a point there, right? There's a gazillion, right, points on the line, okay? You just need to get any 2, right? So the easiest 2 are to find out where it cuts the x-axis, so that's 1 point where it cuts the x-axis, as in, right, here's the x-axis, so if you get this point here, right, okay, that's one of the easiest ones to find. The second one is to find a point where it cuts the y-axis, where it crosses the y-axis, okay, so there's the easiest ones to find, right. You need to remember the rules because sometimes they ask you where does it cut the x-axis and where does it cut the y-axis. Does anyone remember the rule? Cuts the x-axis what? Y is 0. And if they ask you where it cuts the y-axis, what's the rule? X equals 0.
Excuse me, please, would Amy Enright, first year, go to Miss Garrity's office now, please? Amy Enright. And
that's
would
my
Shaira Cowser come to reception at the bell? And a sum of money was found during the day. It's been handed into reception. Thank you.
Right, okay, so for this one, to get 1 point here, everywhere you see y, stick in a 0. Right, so we get 2x plus 3 times 0 minus 6 equals 0. So this is a case of x on one side, numbers on the other. Please, 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 for the love of God, 3 times 0 is what? 0. Right, I get it at least twice every test. 3 times 0 is 3. No, it's not. If you have no cake and you triple it, you still have no cake. Right, it's depressing. 2x plus 0 minus 6 equals 0. X is on one side, numbers on the other. Build a wall. Leave the 2x. Now the plus 0, you can just drop it because it means nothing. Bring over the minus 6 over the wall. It becomes plus 6. Divide each side by 2. And you get x is equal to 3. So write down the point. So the x is 3 and y is 0. Is that right? Okay. That's 1 point. I still can't draw a line with 1 point. I need 2 points. So the other easiest one to get, now it's not the only one, it's just the easiest one to get where it cuts the y-axis. So you start again, but this time everywhere you see an x, put in a 0. So you get 2 times 0 plus 3y minus 6 equals 0. Yes? Sorry? Because that you have that point, right? If you put in a 3 for x, you'll end up with 3, 0 again. Do you know? So, this is kind of like treat it like a separate sum. I've done, now I'm doing this, right? This is completely different to this, okay? So that's 0 plus 3y minus 6 equals 0. So y is on one side, numbers on the other. So leave the 3y. Bring over the minus 6 and you get a plus 6. Divide each side by 3. And you end up with y is equal to 2. So this time x is 0 and y is 2. Okay, and then to graph, 3, 0 would be across 3 and up 0. And 0, 2 is across 0 and up as far as 2. Obviously you graph it out properly and oh, for God's sake. That went through no point. Right, okay. Right, is that right? Yeah. Okay, so that's how you graph your line. Are we okay with that? Do you want to do one or will I move on? Yeah, I think it's about time you did something. So will you graph the line. 2x plus y plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so graph the line, and there I'll leave that one underneath it so you can follow on. Okay. right? So everywhere cuts the x-axis, find out where it cuts the x-axis. Everywhere you see y, put in a 0. So you get 2x plus 0 plus 2 equals 0. X is on one side, numbers on the other, build a wall. 2x stays put, 0 means nothing, plus 2 goes over and becomes minus 2. Then you divide each side by 2, and you get x is equal to minus 1. So that is the point minus 1, 0. Okay, park that a minute. Start again. Find out where it cuts the y-axis. So everywhere you see an x, put in a 0. So it's 2 times 0 plus y plus 2 equals 0. That's 0 plus y plus 2 equals 0. Y is on one side, build a wall. Y is on one side, numbers on the other. So the y stays put. Plus 2 comes over, becomes a minus 2. So that's 0 minus 2. Okay? So then sketch. Okay? So minus 1, 0 is across to minus 1, up 0. And 0 minus 2 is across 0 and down to minus 2. And then you draw a line through it. Okay? Is that right? And don't start at one point and finish at the other, because it didn't, that, you know, if you drew here to here and you just did that, sorry, you've just drawn a line segment, okay? So to draw a line has no start, no end, so make sure you go through the points. Okay, it's only a small thing, but is that right? Sorry?
If you lose marks.
Yeah, you could lose marks, yeah, yeah. Right, are we okay with graphing lines? There's other bits in there, right, okay, but if you can do that, I'm happy, right, okay. The next thing I want to do is to prove a point is on a line, or to verify. You know that word verify, right? What does verify means? It means it is true, you just have to prove it's true, right, okay. So to verify a point is on a line, so if I said verify, let's see, where is it? If I find one. Sorry. Verify. 2 minus 3 is on the line. X minus y minus 5 equals 0. Is that right? Okay, so here's your equation of the line, here's the point. So to prove a point is on a line, girls, it's the easiest thing in the world, but everyone forgets about it. So everywhere you see an x, stick in a 2. And everywhere you see a what? A y, stick in a minus 3. So you end up with 2 minus minus 3. Do you all see how I got 2 minuses there? Right, the first came from there, and the second part minus is part of y. Minus 5 equals 0. So 2 minus minus 3 is plus 3 into the calculator with that, and you'll work out that 0 equals 0. Does 0 equal 0? Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Yes, so that means it's on the line. So then you write 2 minus 3 is on the line. Like so, depending on how the equation was written, you could end up with 5 equals 5 here. That's a true statement. You could end up with minus 7 equals minus 7. That's a true statement, right? If they say investigate, okay, so we'll go investigate. Now, what's the story with investigate? Is it on the line? Maybe, maybe not. So investigate if 2 minus 1 is on the line 2x minus y equals minus 3. Okay? So everywhere you see an x, stick in a 2. Everywhere you see a y, stick in a minus 1. Okay? So I have 2 times 2, then I have a minus sign, then I have y, which is minus 1. Does that equal to minus 3? So 2 minuses give you a plus. Into the calculator with that, 2 2s are 4, plus 1 is 5. So 5 is equal to minus 3. Tell me about that. That's a false statement. So is the point on the line? No. 2 minus 1. Make sure you answer the question. So the first thing you do is read the question. The last thing, not on line. Sorry, crazy writing there. not online. That reads not online. Okay? Make sure you answer the question. Okay? So the first thing you always do is read the question, but when you think you're done, read the question again to make sure you've given you've answered the question. Okay? Is that alright? So the first thing you do is read the question, the last thing you do is read the question. Okay? Right, are we good with that? Right, intersection of 2 points, of 2 lines. Right, okay, we've done this already. Right, if I ask you where do the lines x plus 2y equals minus 1, and another line is 2x minus 3y equals minus 9, where do those 2 lines intersect? What would you do? You would do simultaneous equations, so off you go do simultaneous equations. Who's looking for me? Who's that person? Do your parents get that with our app? When my children leave school for the day, you know, if I sign them out and then they sign out, I get it on the app. Do your parents get that? No? No. Do they? Yeah, because I just got a message there to say both my children have left school for the day. Yeah, it's, huh? Obviously I'm not freaking out here because I wrote a note for them to leave school. Yeah. And I think they have to scan out with their phones. They have to, you know. No Dawson on my watch. Will I go? So there's a 2 here, there's a 3 here. So that means multiply the bottom line by 2 and multiply the top line by 3. Don't worry about the signs for the moment. You can deal with signs in a minute. Okay, so just multiply by the numbers. So top line by 3, that's 3x plus 6y equals minus 3. Here we have 4x minus 6y equals minus 18. Okay, so then you check the signs. Is one a plus and is one a minus? Yes, they are. So that means you don't need to change any signs. You can just squash straight away. Plus 6 minus 6 will give me 0. 3x and 4x will give me 7x. Minus 3 minus 18 will give me minus 21. There's a 7 stuck to the x, so divide by 7 and you end up with x is equal to minus 3. Okay, you're only halfway there because now you have to find out what y is. So you take the top equation. You can take either equation, right? In fact, you have a choice of 4 equations, but I always go for the top one, right? So everywhere I've just figured out x is minus 3, so that's minus 3 plus 2y equals minus 1. Y is on one side, numbers on the other, so leave the 2y, minus 1. The minus 3 comes over and becomes a plus 3. So you get 2y minus 1 plus 3 is plus 2. There's a 2 stuck to the y, so divide each side by 2, and you get y is equal to 1. So your points are minus 3, 1. Don't forget to write down the point of intersection. Okay? Is that alright? Yeah. Happy with that? Yeah. Right, okay. Right, and the last bit in this section is the area of a triangle. Okay, so this was new to us this year, so I'll just revise this with you. Can I rub this off? Right, okay. So remember, a triangle has 3 corners, okay? So 3 corners, and we'll just say this one is 0, 0, just say one of the other corners is 2 minus 1. This isn't drawn to scale now or anything. It's just me putting in numbers on corners, okay? So it's not drawn to scale, it's not drawn on a coordinate diagram, okay? Right, so the a half times x, the area of a triangle, x2, x1, y2 minus x2, y1 is in the log tables. Right, okay, now how many points do I need to fill out this formula? 2. X1, y1 and x2, y2, agreed?
Yeah.
But there's 3 points. So what's the story? Does anyone remember what the story is? Yeah, one of them has to be 0, 0. And if one of them is not 0, 0, I'll show you in the next example what you do. Okay? So one of them has to be 0, 0. So when one of them is 0, 0, cross it out. Gone. Right? Okay? And you call this one x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? So then it's a half. Now, the straight lines means take the positive value, so don't worry about it for the minute. Okay? Just put in x1 is minus 2. Multiplied by y2 is minus 1. Then you have a minus. Then x2 is 2 and y1 is 4. Right, okay. So into your calculator, put what's inside the straight lines. Leave the half out for a minute. So put what's inside the straight lines. So when you put that into your calculator, you'll get 2 minus 6. Thank you. You'll get minus 6. Now, this is what the straight lines means. If you end up with a negative number, just drop the minus sign. Okay? If you end up with a positive number, you don't have to do anything. Right? But if you end up with a negative number, drop the minus sign. So that's not half of 6, minus 6 anymore. It's half of 6. So half of 6 is 3. That's your answer. Is that alright? Okay, so remember this. One of the points has to be 0, 0. You call the other one x1, y1, x2, y2. Right? Ignore the half for a minute. Always do inside the bracket, inside the straight lines first to see is it a negative number or not. Right? Or you can put in the half, and if you get a minus answer, just drop the minus. Okay? It's up to you. You can really do it all in one go, and if you end up with a minus answer, just drop the minus. Okay? Right. What will we do now when one of the points is not 0, 0? For example, here's 1, minus 2, 1. Here's a triangle. Here are the coordinates. 3, 6, and 0, minus 3. Now, I'm only allowed to use this formula half x1, y2 minus x2, y1. I'm only allowed to use that when one of the points is 0, 0. So none of the points are 0, 0 here. So what do? You move one of them onto 0, 0. Which one do you move? Who the hell? It doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter because you're going to end up with the same answer anyway. So I always just pick the top one just because I can. Right? Okay? So you look at the x coordinate. What's the x coordinate here? Minus 2. What's the x coordinate here? 0. How do I go on a number line? How would I go from minus 2 up to 0? So I'm down at minus 2. How do I get back to 0? I added on 2, didn't I? Because minus 2 plus 2 will give me 0. Right? So that means you plus 2 onto all your x's. So this is 3. So 3 plus 2 will give me 5. Okay? This one, 0 plus 2 will give me 2. Right? Okay? Then you look at the y's. So the y coordinate here is what? 1. The y coordinate over here is what? 0. So if I'm at plus 1, how do I get to 0? Minus 1, don't I? So I'm minus 1 off all my y's. So this was 6. I have to minus 1 off it. What is it now? 5. And this was minus 3. Minus 3 minus 1 would be minus 4. So they're your new coordinates. So one of them is 0, 0. Ignore. Call this one x1, y1, x2, y2, and you fill it in. So it's a half times x1 is 5, y2 is minus 4, minus x2 is 2, y1 is 5. Right, as I say, just do the bit in the brackets first. So 5 times minus 4 is minus 20. Minus 20 minus 10 is minus 30. Okay, the two straight lines means just drop that minus sign. Right, so it's actually a half of 30 and a half of 30 is 15. That's your answer. Is that alright? Will I give you one to do? Or what, how am I going time-wise? Alright, 2 minutes. Do you want one? No? You're happy enough with it? Right, okay, so this is chapter 9 and that's it. Right, okay, girls, attempt everything, right? So on Friday, attempt everything. Don't hand me up blanks, right? Because teachers love to see blanks coming. Why? Because it means they don't have anything to correct. So make my life difficult, please. Right?